I am 34 when I agree to dinner with Claire. For weeks, we had messaged, shared photos from childhood, and traded small dreams. She has a way of walking into a room that makes people look. I like how she talks about travel and taste. I think she likes the quiet parts of me, the stories about late nights studying and Sundays at my parents' house. The restaurant is one people mention when they want to sound impressed. Dim lights, soft music, and a server who knows the wine list. I picked it because it feels like an easy first step, not a show. I want a real conversation, something that can grow. At first, we talk the way two people who already like each other do. We laugh at small things, compare favorite movies, and talk about where we grew up. She asks about my family. I tell her my dad runs a small garage, and my mom wakes before sunrise to bake. They have kept a steady life together. I say it simply, not wanting drama. Her smile changes. That's cute, she says. Kind of low class, though, don't you think? The words hit me. I feel a pull in my chest, and the bread seems to cool. I answer quietly. I say my family taught me to work and to keep promises. I say I owe them everything. She talks about potential, about climbing, about surrounding myself with people who match the image I want. Her phrases smell of lists and events, the kind of names people drop to show status. She says it like advice, casual and final, as if a lifetime could be summed up by a word. I listen. She keeps going on about standards and networks and how background can be a liability. She does not meet my eyes. She looks away like someone who wants to avoid regret. Something quiet and steady settles in me. I finish my meal with a decision. When I walk her to her car, I thank her for the evening. She hugs me in that practiced way and leaves. I sit in my car and let the city noise come back. I think of early mornings in my childhood, my mother's oven clicking on, and my father working late. I think of their small, steady pride. The next day, my mother calls, bright and excited. She has packed pastries for a charity event my firm is supporting that weekend. She hopes the treats will help the cause. As she talks, a small plan forms in my head. It is not about punishment, it is about showing. I tell her I will pick up the pastries and help set up. The event brings people together for a reason larger than the weekday noise. There are developers, bloggers, and a few influencers taking notes. Claire is there, flawless in a dress, talking into her phone. She does not notice the trays of pastries with a simple card. Parker's Bakery. All proceeds to children's education. She sees me eventually. Her greeting is bright and rehearsed. I point to the sign and thank the volunteers who helped my mom. She glances at the card and offers a surprised laugh. I tell her plainly that those pastries are a family effort. It is enough to make her quiet. I leave her standing by the table while the room hums around us. Later, people come up to the table to thank my mother. Some ask about her bakery, others ask how to donate. I watch them, feeling both proud and calm and grateful. She didn't leave right away. I could see her from across the room, trying to act like nothing had happened, smiling too hard, posing for another photo near the event banner. But the tone around her had shifted. People had read the sign. They'd connected the dots. That low-class bakery was the reason the dessert table was crowded. My mother's name, Parker, was printed on every label, next to words like donation, education, and community support. I didn't plan to embarrass her. I just wanted her to see what real class looked like: quiet work, generosity, people who show up for others without needing attention. Claire approached me again later, careful this time. Her smile was smaller, almost polite. "Hey," she said. "I didn't realize your mom was that Parker. The pastries are amazing." "Yeah," I replied. "She's been baking since before I was born. Still wakes up at 4 every morning." "That's really sweet," she said, hesitating before adding. "It's nice she does charity too." "She believes everyone deserves a chance," I said, "even when some people don't believe that about her." She blinked, unsure what to say. "I didn't mean what I said the other night," she murmured. "I just meant you've outgrown that kind of life." I looked at her calm. "The life that taught me how to earn what I have." Her eyes darted away. The conversation ended there. I turned back to the crowd and started helping one of the volunteers load boxes. When I looked up again, she was gone. That night, I thought about how easy it is for some people to judge others by what they see, without understanding how much work stands behind it. My mother didn't know what had happened, and I didn't tell her. I just said everyone loved her pastries, which made her laugh. A few days passed before Claire reached out again. "Hey Nathan, about the other night, I think we got off on the wrong foot." I didn't mean any of it. You know I respect people who work hard. I read the message twice. It didn't sound like an apology. It sounded like someone trying to erase their mistake before it cost them. I left it unread and went back to my work. 2 days later, an email from my firm came in. It was about a new housing project, a sustainable community design that had everyone talking. The company wanted to feature influencers who represented authentic values and family-driven growth. I skimmed through the names on the early shortlist. And there it was. Claire. Her name, her profile, her pitch deck, all neatly attached. I stared at it for a long time. The irony almost made me laugh. I didn't remove her name. I didn't have to. Life had already lined up the stage. The interviews would be held at one of our model homes, the same style she once said wasn't upscale enough. I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt steady. This wasn't about revenge. It was about reflection, letting someone face the mirror they'd been avoiding. When the day of the interviews came, I arrived early. The room smelled like new wood and fresh paint, the kind of place that told a story about hard work, not wealth, but effort. By noon, the door opened, and Claire walked in. She froze the moment she saw me. Her voice wavered just slightly. "Nathan, I didn't realize you were part of the selection board?" I said evenly. "Yeah, I helped design the homes you're here to represent." The silence that followed said enough. She tried to recover, offering her practiced smile. "Well, I'm thrilled to see you again. I love this project. It feels so classy." I nodded once. Interesting word to use. She laughed awkwardly and sat down. The interview began. By the time it ended, I already knew she wasn't the right fit. She didn't know it yet. But karma, I've learned, has perfect timing. When she left that day, she looked relieved, even confident. I could tell she thought she had fixed things between us. The kind of person who believes charm can cover everything. After she walked out, I stayed behind with the rest of the board. No one said much, but the decision was already clear in my head. There was no reason to reject her outright. Not yet. Life works better when it unfolds naturally. A few evenings later, I sat at home, finishing some notes for the project when her name flashed again on my phone. "Hey Nathan, I really enjoyed seeing you today. Would love to collaborate if things work out." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I knew she'd understand the answer soon enough. The project, called the Horizon Residences, meant more to me than another job. It was a chance to build something with meaning, to show that beauty and simplicity could exist together. The firm wanted the campaign to reflect that, to show genuine people, not just curated images. When the final round of selection came, we reviewed every candidate's portfolio again. Claire's work was sharp and polished. Every post looked perfect but felt hollow, like an ad for a life no one actually lived. Then there was Maya, a single mother who made small home decor items from recycled materials and filmed them in her living room. Her videos were quiet, real, and full of small joy. Watching them reminded me of my mother's bakery, steady hands, honest work, nothing fake. The choice was obvious. A week later, the campaign went live. Maya's story took off instantly. Thousands of people connected with her warmth, her message about finding grace in simple spaces. The photos showed her and her little boy sitting in one of our homes, surrounded by plants and secondhand furniture. It wasn't luxury. It was life. Our firm's social pages were filled with comments praising the authenticity. The media picked it up. Maya's small business exploded overnight. And Claire? Her silence online didn't last long. A few days later, she started posting vague captions. Things like, "Some people can't handle a woman with standards, and real class doesn't need approval." But underneath the surface, everyone could tell she was hurt. The comments dropped, the likes fell, and a few sponsors quietly stopped tagging her. I didn't feel joy, just closure. The world had a way of showing people the difference between image and integrity. Someone from the PR team mentioned later that there were rumors about her being difficult to work with, that she'd treated smaller brands poorly. None of it came from me, but I wasn't surprised. The truth usually finds its own way out. One night, as I sat on my balcony with a coffee, I thought about her, not with anger, just reflection. We all meet people who mistake success for superiority. Sometimes, it takes a quiet fall to remind them that character is the only thing that truly lasts. I looked out over the city lights, some bright, some faint, but all part of the same skyline. That's how people are, I guess. We all shine differently, but no one light makes the city whole. I smiled to myself, finished my coffee, and went back inside. A few weeks passed, and life slipped back into its rhythm. I worked, visited my parents when I could, and helped finalize the next phase of the housing project. One morning, while reviewing documents, I noticed something odd, a familiar name on another proposal. Claire. She'd applied again, this time through a different marketing firm pitching a collaboration idea. I accepted it right away. I just let it sit. Later that afternoon, the PR head stopped by my desk. "We've got interviews scheduled for tomorrow at the model home," she said. "You're still joining, right?" I nodded. Wouldn't miss it. The interviews were held in one of the homes she'd once criticized for being too modest. Funny how life loops back on itself. The space was bright and simple. White walls, a few plants, wooden floors that smelled of polish. The kind of home built for living, not showing off. When Claire walked in, I saw her stop for half a second. Her expression flickered, recognition, hesitation, then a trained smile. "Nathan," she greeted, voice smooth but thinner than before. "Wow, I didn't realize you'd be here again." "Part of the selection board," I said, calm and neutral. "I helped design the homes you're here to represent." "Oh, that's wonderful." Her voice wavered for just a second. "I really admire what this project stands for. It's so classy." "Interesting word," I said quietly. She laughed softly, trying to fill the silence. We began the interview. The others asked about her audience reach, her brand tone, her campaign ideas. My questions were simpler, the kind that reveal more than they seem to. What does authenticity mean to you? How would you describe real success? What makes a home feel valuable? She hesitated often, giving polished answers that sounded practiced, not lived. She spoke about image, presentation, and lifestyle, using words like premium and status. I just listened. By the end, she looked at me, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "I really think I can bring something unique to this," she said. "I'm sure you can," I replied. "We'll be in touch." She smiled, stood up, and left. The next week, the campaign announcement went public. Maya Henderson, the local mom with the small decor business, was our new collaborator. Her first video for the project went viral in hours. People loved her story, her humility, the way she made simple things look beautiful. Claire's silence online lasted 3 days before she started posting cryptic stories again. Things like, "People fear strong women," or "Class is something money can't buy, but some people will never get that." But the comments told a different story. Some followers questioned her tone. Others unfollowed. Sponsors quietly ended their contracts. I didn't gloat. There was nothing to celebrate. Watching someone trip over their own arrogance doesn't feel like victory. It just confirms what you already knew. Over time, I stopped checking her profile altogether. I had better things to focus on. Then, one afternoon, I got a call from my mother. Her voice was cheerful as always. "Sweetheart, you won't believe this," she said. "That woman you mentioned once, Claire? She called the bakery today." I paused. "She did?" "Yes. She said she wanted to collaborate on humble roots and small business empowerment." I told her we're fully booked for 6 months. Then I gave her the number for the soup kitchen we donate to. They could use her help instead. I almost spilt my coffee. "You really did that?" "Of course," she said, laughing. "Everyone deserves a chance to learn about kindness." That was my mom. Calm, grounded, never cruel, but always teaching people something without realizing it. That night, I sat outside, looking up at the skyline. For the first time in a while, I didn't think about Claire or her words. I just thought about how lucky I was to have come from people who never measured worth by status. Real class doesn't announce itself. It just shows up, quietly, and leaves the world a little better than before. A month later, I was invited to speak at a small business seminar about design, growth, and integrity. It wasn't a glamorous event, more like a gathering of people who wanted to build something honest. I said yes immediately. The day of the seminar, I stood backstage with my notes. I wasn't nervous, just thoughtful. When my name was called, I walked out, greeted the audience, and began talking about how values shape the work we do, how the foundation of anything strong comes from the people who teach us to care. Halfway through the session, I noticed her. Claire. She was sitting 3 rows back, dressed simply this time. No camera, no team, just her. For a moment, our eyes met. She didn't look away, but she didn't smile either. When the moderator opened the floor for questions, someone asked me, "How do you stay grounded when success starts changing your lifestyle?" I paused. Then I said, "Never confuse wealth with worth. The people who raised you, they're the reason you even get to sit at the table." Forgetting that isn't classy. It's tragic. There was a soft murmur in the room, the kind that follows when words hit somewhere deeper than expected. I glanced at Claire again. She was still looking at me, but her expression had changed. The confidence was gone. In its place was something quieter, understanding, maybe even regret. After the session ended, I stayed to shake hands and talk with a few people. When the crowd thinned, I saw her standing near the exit, waiting. She stepped forward slowly. "Nathan," she said, voice low. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I nodded. We walked out into the hallway, away from the noise. She took a breath. I was stupid. That night, what I said, I thought I was being clever or funny, I don't know. But I was just being cruel. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I looked at her, not angry, just tired of the same story people tell themselves when they finally see the consequences. "You did mean it," I said gently. "You just didn't expect it to cost you." She didn't argue. She just nodded, eyes down. "You're right." For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. She shifted her bag on her shoulder, as if preparing to leave, but then added, "Your mom's bakery, those pastries at the event, they were amazing. I should have seen it then." "She'd probably still thank you for saying that," I said quietly. "That's just who she is." Claire smiled faintly, small, real, The kind that comes when words run out. Take care of yourself, Nathan, she said. Then she turned and walked away. I watched her go, not out of satisfaction, but because sometimes seeing someone finally understand is its own ending. She didn't need to be punished anymore. Life had already done that. Outside, the sky was just beginning to turn gold. I pulled out my phone and saw a text from my mom. Just wanted to say we're proud of you. Dad fixed a neighbor's car for free today. Guess some things never change. I smiled to myself. No, they don't. And that's what keeps the world balanced. People who still do good without asking what it's worth. I walked toward the parking lot, the city humming around me. The skyline I helped design stood tall against the fading light. Beautiful, not because it was perfect, but because it was built on solid ground. And maybe that's what real class is. Not about who you impress, but who you uplift. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.